Earth had always been a world of quiet progress, untouched by the chaos of the galaxy. From the towering peaks of the Andes to the bustling streets of New York City, humanity lived in a harmony few species could ever dream of. Alex Carter stood at the helm of Earth's most ambitious project, the Earth Preservation Initiative, a global movement designed to repair the damage humanity had inflicted on its planet. The planet was healing, oceans were clearer, forests were regrowing, deserts were slowly turning back into fertile lands. Earth was a symbol of hope for the galaxy, and humankind believed that the future would be one of peace and cooperation among nations. The harmony on Earth seemed unshakable. The dark reaches of space beyond their home remained mysterious but distant, and Earth was content to look inward, not yet ready to look up for fear of disrupting their newfound balance. But everything changed with a single transmission. It came in the middle of a quiet night, a signal from the void, not from any known location in the galaxy, but somewhere far beyond Earth's star system. It was a message like no other, cryptic yet unmistakable in its intent. The transmission was faint, but powerful, its contents simple and chilling. Join us or perish. The words echoed across the globe, and for the first time humanity realized they were not alone in the universe. The governments of Earth scrambled to decipher the message. Was it a threat or a plea for help? Some thought it was a warning, others believed it was a test of Earth's will. No one knew for sure, but the unknown voice from the stars ignited something deep within humanity: curiosity, a thirst for knowledge, and an undeniable desire to connect with whatever or whoever lay beyond the stars. Alex Carter convened with the world's leaders, a meeting that spanned across time zones, continents, and oceans. The decision was made to respond to the message cautiously, but with hope. Humanity was ready to take the next step. They were not afraid of the unknown. They were eager to embrace it. Captain Mia Jacobs was chosen as the leader of Earth's first official interstellar delegation. She was a decorated military officer who had risen through the ranks with an unwavering dedication to peace. She represented everything humanity stood for in this moment. The idea of war was an afterthought, and only diplomacy would carry the day. She would lead the first contact with whatever civilization had sent that message. With hope in her heart and fear in her mind, Mia boarded the ship that would carry her and a team of scientists, engineers, and diplomats to the location from which the transmission had originated. The journey would take months as the ship traveled faster than light through the stars, but the excitement was palpable. Earth was united in anticipation. What would they find out there? What kind of beings would they meet? Would they be benevolent allies or ruthless conquerors? Humanity had no idea, but they were ready to find out. And so the countdown to first contact began on Earth's peaceful planet. As humans prepared to step into the vast unknown, the universe would never be the same. The journey to the source of the mysterious transmission felt like an eternity for Captain Mia Jacobs and her team. But as the ship hurtled through the void of space, humanity's collective heartbeat quickened. Every passing day brought them closer to an answer, but also deeper into uncertainty. When they finally reached the coordinates, there was nothing but empty space. At first, the crew was confused and frustrated, but Mia knew better than to let doubt spread through the ranks. Something was out there, and she would find it. After a few tense hours of scanning the endless expanse, they saw it, a massive ship unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It wasn't just a vessel, it was a city in motion. Its shape was both elegant and terrifying, with strange designs etched along its surface, glowing with an otherworldly light. Mia ordered the ship to approach, and as they got closer, she felt a strange hum vibrating through her very bones. It was as though the ship was alive itself, and as they hailed it, the transmission they had received earlier crackled back to life. The same voice, this time clearer yet more commanding. "We are the Zentari. You have come far, human. But the question is why?" The voice echoed through their comms. Mia's hands gripped the controls. Her heart raced. She had prepared for this moment for years. But now that it was here, everything felt surreal. The crew waited in silence for Mia to respond. She took a deep breath and spoke. "We come in peace. We've received your message, and we are ready to learn from you. We seek knowledge, and to build the lasting bond between our species." There was a long pause before the voice returned. "Very well," it said. "We will open the way." Moments later, the Zentari ship released an energy field that surrounded Mia's vessel like a delicate cocoon, pulling them in with ease. They had no choice but to follow where the Centauri led them. The ship docked within the Centauri vessel, and as Mia and her team stepped into the alien halls, they were met with beings so different from humanity, yet strangely familiar. They were tall, graceful beings with skin that shimmered like polished marble. Their eyes glowed with a soft blue light, and they wore robes that seemed to flow with the very air around them. Despite their ethereal presence, there was a quiet authority about them. It was clear they were not just a species of advanced technology. They were a civilization with an ancient history, one that stretched across galaxies. Mia couldn't help but feel both awe and trepidation as they were escorted to the central chamber, where the Centauri leader awaited her. Tall and dignified, the Centauri leader's voice resonated with the same commanding tone as the transmission. "We have watched your planet for centuries." The leader spoke with a strange kind of reverence. "Your species is unique. You have the potential to join us in the stars. But first you must prove your worth." Mia was taken aback. She had expected knowledge and partnership, not a test of worthiness. "What do you mean, prove our worth?" she asked. The leader's glowing eyes turned toward her. "Your race has a history of violence and destruction." The leader said, "We must know you are ready to join us or risk bringing chaos to the galaxy." Mia's heart sank. She had thought humanity's peaceful intentions would be enough, but now she realized the Centauri saw them as something more dangerous than they had imagined. The weight of her mission had just become much heavier. The words of the Centauri leader echoed in Mia's mind as she left the chamber. A test of worthiness. Humanity's past, a history of violence and destruction, had cast a shadow over their future. Even the most peaceful among them could not escape the stain of war and conquest that had marked human civilization centuries ago. Alex Carter stood at the helm of Earth's response team. Back on their ship, his mind raced with the implications of what the Centauri had said. If their entire species was judged by their violent history, what chance did they have to join the stars, let alone survive their scrutiny? Mia sat in silence at the bridge, staring out at the starry expanse in front of her, as the crew anxiously awaited her next move. She had been chosen as Earth's representative, yet now she felt like a pawn in an alien game. The Centauri had been kind and welcoming in their own way, but there was no mistaking the ultimatum they had given humanity: prove your worth or perish. Mia's voice broke the silence. "We need to find out what they really want," she said, her tone sharp with resolve. Alex nodded as he looked over at her. "I agree. We can't risk failing this test. If we do, Earth will be left to fend for itself against unknown forces." Mia's mind turned to the message they had received: to join them or perish. It was a warning, but it was also an invitation. Humanity had been offered a place in a vast cosmic network that spanned across the galaxy, an alliance that could elevate them far beyond anything they had imagined. Yet the cost was steep. Their past weighed heavily against them. Mia knew that the only way forward was to show the Centauri that humanity had changed. They had to prove that they were no longer the warmongers of old, but a species that had learned from its mistakes. But how could they show the Centauri that humanity was worthy of their trust when so much of their history was defined by conflict? How could they convince the most advanced beings in the galaxy that the lessons learned from centuries of war had truly taken root? The answer came when Maya was summoned once more to the Centauri leader's chamber. The air was thick with tension as she stepped forward alongside Alex and the other members of her team. The Centauri leader regarded them with a quiet intensity. "You ask how you can prove yourselves." The leader's voice was calm yet filled with an unmistakable weight. "The answer is not in your words, but in your actions. You will be tested." Mia's heart pounded as the leader continued. "You will face an obstacle, an adversary created not by us, but by your own kind." The leader's gaze turned toward Gabriel O'Connor, who had been quietly observing from the back of the room. Gabriel, the former military officer, and now the leader of the Ascendants, a faction of humans who had undergone genetic modifications to enhance their abilities, had already become a controversial figure back on Earth. His powers were undeniable, his rise to power swift and brutal, but what concerned Mia the most was the Ascendants' increasingly violent methods. Their methods were a far cry from the peaceful intentions of Earth's original delegation. Gabriel had been a part of their team once and had helped lead the efforts to join the Centauri Alliance, but he had turned against them. His ascendants had begun pushing their own vision for humanity's future, one that rejected diplomacy in favor of dominance. It was Gabriel's faction that threatened to undo everything Mia and Alex had worked toward to prove humanity's worth. They would have to stop Gabriel before he tore Earth apart. The weight of the Centauri leader's words pressed heavily on Mia's shoulders as she and her team stood in the chamber, the tension palpable in the air. Gabriel O'Connor's presence felt like a looming storm. He had once been a trusted ally, a brilliant strategist who had fought alongside them in the early days of Earth's preparations for interstellar diplomacy. But now, Gabriel had become a symbol of everything the Centauri feared about humanity: unrestrained ambition, the hunger for power, and a willingness to conquer rather than cooperate. Mia's mind raced. The Centauri wanted proof that humanity had evolved, that it had moved beyond its violent nature. Gabriel was the perfect test case, a living reminder of humanity's darker tendencies. The problem was that Gabriel wasn't just a rogue leader. He was a force, a charismatic figure who had inspired thousands of followers, the ascendants who had undergone radical genetic modifications to enhance their abilities. Gabriel's growing faction, with its overwhelming military strength and totalitarian ambitions, was a serious threat to the peace Earth had worked so hard to maintain. If left unchecked, he could undo everything. Mia knew that to prove humanity's worth to the Centauri, they had to stop Gabriel, but it couldn't be done by force alone. The Centauri would not accept another war, not even one fought for righteous reasons. The challenge, Mia realized, was to stop Gabriel without becoming the very thing the Centauri feared. She had to do this without violence, or risk failing the test entirely. "We have to stop him," Mia said, turning to Alex and the rest of the team. "But we have to find another way. If we fight him, we risk proving the Centauri right. We need to show them that humanity can overcome this, that we can resolve our own conflicts peacefully." Alex looked uneasy, his brow furrowed. "And you think Gabriel will listen to reason? After everything he's done?" "He has to," Mia replied firmly. "We don't have a choice." The team set off to locate Gabriel's stronghold, deep within the heart of a war-torn region on Earth. The Ascendants had taken control of several key military bases, establishing their dominance through sheer force. Gabriel's power was rooted in fear and control, but Mia believed that if they could break through the walls of his ideology, there might still be a chance to reach him. When they arrived, they found that Gabriel had fortified his position, surrounded by his most loyal soldiers. The walls of his base were guarded, the air thick with the hum of military power. Gabriel, now nearly unrecognizable as the man he once was, stood at the center of it all. His enhancements were evident. His once average stature was now towering, his movements precise and calculated. He was no longer a man. He was a symbol of power incarnate. Mia stood before him, her heart heavy with the weight of what was at stake. "Gabriel, this isn't the way. You can't keep fighting this way." Gabriel's eyes, once full of camaraderie and hope, now gleamed with cold, unyielding determination. "You still don't understand, Mia. This is the only way. Humanity will never survive in the stars unless we fight for our place, unless we dominate. The Centauri don't understand us, and neither do you. We're not like them. We can't be like them." Mia's voice was steady but filled with the pain of lost friendship. "Gabriel, we are asterisk like them. We've already proven it. We've shown that we can change. But you, this path leads us back to destruction. This isn't the future humanity deserves." Gabriel's expression twisted with a mixture of anger and frustration. "You're weak, Mia. You always have been. The Centauri will never let us join them unless we prove we're strong enough to stand on our own. If you can't see that, then you've already failed." The tension between them was suffocating, the rift between old allies now as deep as a chasm. Mia knew that this confrontation could end in only two ways: with Gabriel's defeat or with Earth's destruction. She took a deep breath and looked into his eyes one last time, hoping, praying that she could reach him. "Gabriel, you were the one who taught me that strength is not just about power. It's about conviction. It's about knowing when to stand down and when to build something better." She paused. "Please, don't make me prove you wrong." Gabriel stood motionless, a moment of silence stretching between them, but his resolve remained. The challenge had been set. The battle for humanity's soul was about to begin. Gabriel's defiance was unwavering, his beliefs rooted too deeply in the idea that only power could secure humanity's future among the stars. The words exchanged between him and Mia hung in the air, thick with the weight of everything humanity had fought for. Mia's heart ached, not just for the failed promise of peace, but for the man who had once stood beside her. She had hoped there was still a chance to reach him, but it was clear now that Gabriel had crossed a line from which there was no return. His vision for humanity, one of dominance and conquest, was a vision that would lead to their destruction. Before Mia could respond, the ground trembled beneath their feet. The air was thick with the sound of war drums. Gabriel's forces were mobilizing. This was no longer a debate. It was an ultimatum. The Ascendants, enhanced with alien technology, surged forward, their soldiers a terrifying blend of humanity and Centauri biology, ready to strike with unrelenting force. Gabriel's path was clear. He would bring the fight to Earth's very doorstep. "We don't have time for your ideals, Mia," Gabriel said coldly, his voice cutting through the tension. "The Centauri have shown their true colors, and now you see that humanity must stand on its own. I'm giving you one last chance to join me. Refuse, and the consequences will be catastrophic." The room erupted in chaos as Gabriel's loyalists prepared for battle. Mia had hoped she could resolve this without bloodshed, but she now realized that the threat Gabriel posed was too great to ignore. The Centauri had warned humanity about their violent past, and now humanity's violent future stood before them in the form of Gabriel's rebellion. He had become everything the Centauri feared. His hunger for power had consumed him, and now he was leading his followers down a dark path from which there could be no return. Mia's thoughts raced as she formulated a plan. Earth couldn't afford another war, not after everything they had worked for. The Centauri had watched humanity for centuries, and their test had begun. If they failed, if humanity succumbed to the violence of its past, they would never be allowed to join the stars. The consequences would be dire, not just for Earth, but for the galaxy as a whole. But Gabriel, the man she had once trusted, had become the greatest threat to that future. His vision was incompatible with the peaceful future Mia had fought for. The question now was whether humanity could overcome its past, whether they could stop Gabriel without descending into the very violence they had been trying to escape. "Mia, we need to make a choice," Alex said urgently, his voice laced with fear. "If we don't act fast, Gabriel will take control of Earth's entire military force, and then he'll be unstoppable. We need to stop him. Now." Mia nodded grimly. "We'll stop him," she said, her voice firm. "But we'll do it our way. No violence, no bloodshed." The team moved quickly, gathering weapons not for combat, but for the battle of wills that was about to unfold. They couldn't defeat Gabriel by force alone. No, they had to break his ideology, his belief that domination was the only path forward for humanity. They had to show Gabriel that humanity's strength lay in unity, in peace, and in the ability to forge a better future together. As they prepared to confront him once more, Mia's heart was heavy, knowing that the path they were walking was fraught with danger. If they failed, if Gabriel won, then the future of humanity would be a dark one, and the Centauri would turn away from them forever. The stakes had never been higher. The battle for Earth's soul had only just begun, and Mia had no idea if humanity would survive the test. But one thing was certain: there was no turning back. The air was thick with tension as Mia and her team prepared to confront Gabriel. There could be no turning back now. The Ascendants had already begun their push across key military bases, and Gabriel's faction had grown too powerful to ignore. His vision of human supremacy, bolstered by his genetic enhancements and alien technology, had captivated too many to be dismissed as a passing movement. But Mia knew that defeating him with force alone would be a betrayal of everything Earth had worked for. The strategy had to change. Gabriel needed to be stopped. But the goal was not to crush him with violence. It was to break him with the very ideals that had driven him to this point. If Gabriel believed that humanity could only survive through dominance, then it was up to Mia and her team to show him the power of human unity and creativity. "We're not fighting for victory," Maya told Alex and the others as they prepared to board their ship for the final confrontation. "We're fighting for humanity's future. If we can't reach Gabriel, if we can't show him that there's another way, then we've already lost." Alex looked at her, his brow furrowed. "You really think we can change his mind? After everything he's done, after the war he started?" "I have to believe we can," Maya said, her voice firm. "If we fail, Earth falls with him. And so does everything we've worked for." Their ship was cloaked in silence as they approached Gabriel's stronghold, a sprawling military complex built from stolen Centauri technology. The Ascendants had fortified the area, turning it into an impenetrable fortress. Inside, Gabriel stood at the heart of his operation, orchestrating his campaign for dominance. But Mia had a plan that could change everything. She wasn't just bringing weapons, she was bringing words, a challenge to Gabriel's very beliefs. When they landed, Gabriel was waiting for them, flanked by his most trusted Ascendant generals. He looked every bit the leader he had become. Darker, more imposing, but still the same man Mia had once fought beside. His eyes narrowed as he saw her approach. "Mia, I knew you would come," he said, his voice cold and mocking. "But you're too late. The future of humanity isn't with the peaceful ones, the weak ones. It's with us, the strong. We will take our place in the stars by force, not by asking for permission." Mia stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. "Gabriel, this isn't the future humanity needs. We can't build a future by conquering others. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've become. You've traded your humanity for power, and now you're threatening everything we'd fought to protect. The Centauri warned us about our violent past, and you're proving them right." Gabriel's face twisted with anger. "I've seen the stars. Mia, I've seen the power that lies beyond our planet, and I won't let humanity squander it. The Centauri will never take us seriously unless we show them that we can fight, that we can conquer. You're weak, still clinging to an old vision that's never going to work." Mia's voice was calm, yet firm. "No, Gabriel, you're the one who's blind. We don't need to fight to prove our worth. We need to create. We need to show them that humanity can evolve beyond its destructive impulses, that we can be more than just conquerors. We're inventors, creators, dreamers. We've already proven that. The world you're building is a prison, Gabriel. It's a lie, and you're the only one who can't see it." For a long moment, Gabriel stood motionless, his expression unreadable. The silence between them was deafening. Mia could see the conflict brewing beneath the surface, the crack in his conviction. She pressed on. "You were once the one who taught me that strength doesn't come from dominance. It comes from understanding, from collaboration, from creating something greater than ourselves. You're not the man I knew anymore, and that's what's killing you. That's what will destroy us all." Gabriel's gaze faltered for the briefest of moments, but he quickly regained his composure. "You're wrong, Mia," he spat, stepping back. "The galaxy is a battlefield, and only the strongest survive. There's no place for the weak. And you are weak for thinking otherwise." Before she could respond, a loud explosion rocked the compound, followed by the sound of shouting and chaos. Mia's heart sank. Gabriel's forces had launched their attack. The war they had feared was finally here. Time had run out. Mia had tried to reach him, but now they had to survive and find a way to end this madness once and for all. The future of Earth was hanging by a thread, and Gabriel had just snapped it. The explosion echoed through the compound, shaking the very ground beneath Mia's feet. The moment Gabriel's forces had launched their assault, the carefully laid plans that Mia had hoped would prevent bloodshed crumbled in an instant. Chaos erupted as Gabriel's soldiers, enhanced and relentless, charged forward, determined to secure their leader's vision of domination. Mia's heart pounded as she watched the firestorm unfold. The ground outside the base shook with the force of artillery strikes, and the air was filled with the roar of engines as ascendant war machines stormed the perimeter. Their military technology, a twisted amalgamation of human ambition and alien enhancement, tore through the landscape with ease. This wasn't a mere rebellion anymore. It was full-scale war, and Gabriel was the epicenter of it all. Mia turned sharply to Alex. "We have to get to Gabriel. Now. We need to stop this before it spirals out of control." Alex nodded, already moving toward the command center. "We can't fight this with weapons, Mia. Gabriel's forces are too powerful. But maybe we can still talk to him. Stop him before his soldiers turn Earth into a battlefield." Mia clenched her fists. "We've tried talking. Now we need to stop him, even if it means using force." She hated the thought, but the stakes were too high. Earth could not afford this war. Not when the Zentari were watching, ready to judge humanity's worth. The team rushed through the compound, dodging blasts and ducking behind cover as the war intensified around them. The Ascendants were everywhere, their faces hidden beneath helmets, their bodies enhanced to the point where they were almost unrecognizable. They moved like machines, relentless and cold, following Gabriel's orders without question. As Mia and her team pushed forward, they finally reached the heart of Gabriel's stronghold, the central command center. The door was heavily guarded, but that didn't stop Mia. She signaled her team to prepare, and together they stormed inside. There, standing in front of a massive holographic map of the battle unfolding outside, was Gabriel. His eyes were fierce, his expression one of unwavering conviction. He was surrounded by his most trusted generals, their faces grim as they watched the destruction unfold. But when Gabriel saw Mia and her team enter, a cold smile twisted his lips. "You're too late," he said, his voice dripping with disdain. "The war has already begun. Earth is mine, and no one will stop me." Mia felt the weight of his words, the finality in his tone, but she refused to back down. "You're destroying everything, Gabriel. You're leading us down a path of self-destruction. The Zentari were right about us, and now you're proving their point." Gabriel's smile faded, replaced with an expression of anger. "The Zentari. You still think they'll accept us after what they've seen? They'll never allow humanity to rise without showing our strength. Only power matters in this galaxy." "No," Maya replied, her voice strong despite the fear gnawing at her. "What matters is what we build, not what we destroy. You've let your thirst for power blind you, Gabriel. The future of humanity isn't about domination. It's about evolution. It's about learning from our mistakes and making something better, something lasting." Gabriel's face twisted with fury. "And you're still the same weak person who believes in peace and compromise. That's why you'll never understand." Before Maya could respond, one of Gabriel's generals, a towering figure with glowing eyes, stepped forward, activating a weapon that hummed with deadly energy. He aimed it directly at Mia. Alex lunged at the general, knocking the weapon aside. A fierce struggle broke out between the team and Gabriel's loyalists. But Mia couldn't focus on the fight. Her eyes remained locked on Gabriel, who had begun to retreat, his figure disappearing into the shadows of the command center. "No," Mia whispered, realizing that if they didn't stop Gabriel now, Earth was lost. She sprinted after him, her team close behind, pushing past the chaos. They caught up with him at the rear of the facility, where a massive launch pad lay waiting for Gabriel's escape. His vehicle, a sleek, heavily armed ship, was ready for takeoff, a symbol of his refusal to back down. "You won't win this, Gabriel," Maya said, breathless but determined. "This is your last chance. Surrender, and we can end this war." Gabriel turned to face her, his expression cold and unyielding. "This isn't over, Mia. Humanity will follow me, and we'll carve our own destiny, with or without the Centauri." Mia's gaze softened, but her resolve remained. "You're wrong, Gabriel. The destiny of humanity isn't written in blood. You can still change. You can still be part of the future we're building, not the one you're destroying." For a moment, Gabriel's gaze faltered, but then, with a shake of his head, he turned and boarded his ship. It's too late for that. The ship's engines roared to life, and with a final glance at Mia, Gabriel took off into the sky, disappearing into the vastness of space. Maya stood frozen, watching him go. She had tried. She had hoped he would listen, that he would see the truth, but Gabriel had chosen his path, and now humanity was facing the consequences. The war had only just begun. Gabriel's ship vanished into the stars, a symbol of the man he had become and the path he had chosen. Maya stood at the launch pad, staring into the emptiness where moments ago Gabriel had stood. The weight of the decision pressed down on her, heavy and suffocating. The war was no longer a distant possibility. It had begun. Gabriel had taken the first step, but humanity would pay the price for his rebellion. The Centauri had been watching, and now Maya feared that they would make their judgment. "Mia, we need to act," Alex said, his voice cutting through the fog of her thoughts. He was standing by the comms panel, urgently relaying information to their command ship. "Gabriel's forces are already engaging Earth's defenses. The Ascendants are not backing down. We need to respond, or the conflict will spread too far." Mia clenched her fists, staring at the stars where Gabriel had disappeared. This was the moment of truth. The future of humanity and its place among the stars was on the line. If they didn't stop Gabriel and his followers, Earth would spiral into a conflict so large, so catastrophic, that they might never recover. "You're right," Maya said, her voice cold with resolve. "But we can't fight this with the same tactics Gabriel uses. We have to show the Centauri that humanity can do better than this, that we can be part of a peaceful galaxy." She turned to Alex, determination clear in her eyes. "We need to unite Earth. Every faction, every group must come together. Gabriel's war cannot be our war. If we want to prove humanity's worth, we have to be stronger than him, stronger than violence. It's the only way we can survive." Alex nodded. "I'll start contacting the remaining leaders. We have to convince them to stand with us, or else Gabriel will win without firing another shot." The team worked swiftly, reaching out to Earth's fractured political leaders, military commanders, and resistance factions. As they struggled to navigate the complexities of Earth's disjointed global systems, Mia couldn't help but think back to the words of the Centauri leader. Asterisk, your test is not in your words, but in your actions. Asterisk, this was the test. This was humanity's final chance to prove they had learned from their violent past. Hours turned into days as the team coordinated efforts to halt the escalation. Gabriel's forces continued to ravage military bases and infrastructure, but humanity was beginning to respond, not with force, but with cooperation. The resistance leaders, once fractured and isolated, had begun to align themselves with Mia's vision, a future of peace, not war. Despite the progress, the threat of Gabriel loomed larger than ever. He had proven that his faction was strong, ruthless, and willing to do whatever it took to achieve their goals. The Ascendants had access to advanced alien technology, and their relentless tactics were a force to be reckoned with. But Mia's message was clear. Humanity's strength lay not in violence, but in unity. The final showdown was nearing. Mia and her team, alongside the newly united Earth factions, set their sights on Gabriel's stronghold, now fortified in an orbiting space station. The stakes had never been higher. As their fleet prepared for the assault, Mia's heart was heavy with the knowledge that they could not afford to fail. The Zentari were watching, waiting to pass judgment on whether humanity was worthy of a place among the stars. With the final preparations in place, Maya stood in the command room, watching as Earth's united forces began to mobilize. It was a sight she had never imagined she would see. A world coming together, despite its differences, for a single purpose. "We have one chance," Maya said, her voice filled with quiet resolve. "We don't fight for dominance. We fight for peace. We fight to show the Zentari that humanity has learned from its past." Alex placed a hand on her shoulder. "We've got this, Mia. Together, we'll prove that humanity belongs among the stars." The fleet launched into the void, heading toward Gabriel's space station, and as the distance between them and their target closed, Mia allowed herself a moment of hope. This was not the end, but the beginning. If humanity could survive this conflict, if they could find a way to stop Gabriel and preserve the fragile peace, then perhaps they could earn the future they had longed for. In the cold expanse of space, the battle for Earth's soul was about to begin, and Mia knew that the fate of humanity rested not on the outcome of the fight, but on their ability to choose a different path. A path of unity, of growth, and of hope for a future beyond war.